device. How you doing? Right. Oh, okay. Here we go. Pivot. 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 Shut up. I thought that was the appropriate way to start, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, is learning how to pivot, and not have Rick yell at you, shut up, shut up, shut up. Hey everyone, welcome to Two Dogs Digs, Tuesday night live hall pass. Today, we're going to be chatting about all the challenges that have seem to have hit a lot of sellers, not only in Canada, but in the US, and what we need to start thinking about. It might be the time. We've mentioned this as in bits and pieces before, to go, time for us to try and pivot, time for us to try and think about what ways we're going to figure out how to work things now in this ever-changing reselling world, I guess you could call it. So I've got Mr. Good Dog here.
Hello, how are you?
And I'm still deja vu dog, because it still feels like everything's happening over and over and over again. So a big hi to everybody who's joined us here on Tuesday. Special extra hi to those of you who support us in the Kennel Club for $2.99 a month. You get to be a part of a Facebook group that's a dedicated Facebook group. We have dedicated videos in there. You get our research deck. You get access to me, and if you need to ask questions about dolls and toys, if you happen to be at a thrift store, you can send me a message and I'll answer you. We'll give you all that extra support. But a big hello to everybody. Michael's here. Hey, Kendra's here. Julie. Heather and Bob, Louette, Lisa, Janet, Ms. Tina, Charmaine, and Brian, I'm assuming, too. I'll see that. Sandy, Susan, that's her. There's Rick, of course. Diana.
Yes, I'm here. I'm watching.
Kathy.
Always watching.
Marianne. Susan. Hey, Susan. Candace, hello, Sherry and Paul, Mr. Carl, and Mr. Greg is here too, and Mary, haven't seen you in a while. Hey Mary, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, Rick got his hair cut. He got like
Adrian's watching as well, but
Adrian's watching from home because we can't figure out how to send him in here. It's yeah, he went to get his hair cut, so let's everybody get a good look at.
Yeah, it's super short, but it grows quickly. And
mine does too.
He was sick of me taunting him with it.
I need it to grow up here, and it just grows.
I'll get my hair back. Get my hair back.
Yeah. And out my ears. This is like, wow, these are great. Can't grow a damn thing up here for 25 years, but I can grow like. So, yeah. So what we thought we'd chat about today is, again, sort of our subject matter is how things are happening now in this world for pivoting. And I guess the reason that it's come up is that literally we don't know what the heck's going to happen with us and our reselling sort of world that we're in right now. As a Canadian who has been selling 90% of our stuff in the past 25 plus years to the US, Doug said, woo, yes, that it's a big potential challenge and shift for us if things change so that the de minimis goes away, which we still do not know. It's still, as of today, March 18th, on April the 1st, things could change again. So instead of waiting for the things to change, we started looking at how do we work on changing things now, so we're not like sort of in the back end trying to do all of this stuff after the fact. Like
we already went through the, oh my God, the sky is falling. What do we do? Oh no. That's all done. It's like, okay, here's the challenge we may face. How are we going to approach it? How do we attack it? And what does it mean going forward?
Yeah, and we've seen, we're in a couple of other US groups, different kinds of reselling groups, and we're seeing actually quite a lot of people with like depressed sales, like lower than average sales. And I don't want to guess at why. I have no idea why. I think that I can guess. There's lots of different reasons. In Canada, we have people like us. Just so you know, because we're always very transparent with everybody here. we wanted to take a look at our performance, and this is our current performance for the past 18 days. When we look at March versus February, so the first 18 days of March versus the first 18 days of February, we've only sold $1,300 worth of stuff, which is 45% higher than February. If we look at actually the last 31 days versus the same period, but if we look at the last year, this is this year versus last year, and I generate the report, you'll see we're down 35%. So we're down like $4,000 in our sales for this period of the first 10 weeks of the year. So that is like a big drop down for us, and not knowing where it's going to go kind of makes you go, Kendra says her sales to the US are okay. Shipping seems to be taking forever. We actually have not had problem shipping. We actually sent 17 books. I found a collectible book. It was a book about collectible ceramics, and I found this book at a warehouse store, and I picked them up for about $4 each. And I picked them up because I saw them selling for listing for $75, $85, $100. And I tried listing them a couple of times in a couple of Facebook groups up in that area, and I couldn't get it. So I just went, you know what? I want money. So I actually put them at $35, including shipping, which was $10 by media mail. So, because they were heavy, they were 4-pound books, Rick?
It was close to 4 pounds.
Yeah. So, but we sent 15 of these a week ago Monday, and all 15 of them media mail arrived. Most of them, 12 of them arrived by Friday. Some of them arrived by Thursday of last week. So some only took 3 days on media mail to get there. And I've heard that there are people, especially in some markets, where like I saw a post in Boss today that said there was somebody who posted something from a U.S. drop-off spot for USPS that said, if you are sending stuff by media mail and you don't get it scanned in, it could take up to 2 weeks before we even get around to scanning it. So it's like, I can't imagine dealing with that kind of thing when you've got to drop that stuff off.
Yeah, but because of the weight, the Ground Advantage shipping that we could have bought was another $5 or $6 on top of the 10.
Yeah, but
So
we send the media mail.
We send the media mail.
Really surprising. Let's see. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Andrew's saying it seems to be taking much longer than normal to clear customs, which shipping via Canada Post. It used to take down 2 days and now taking closer to a week. Yeah, Kendra says that as well. Hi, Charlene. So that is a challenge. I mean, in the USPS, there's challenges there. We've got some great rates, though. If you are selling on eBay Canada, we've been using that more for shipping. We've been shipping more with Canada Post. I think this year we've shipped more with Canada Post, Rick, than we had in the past year so far.
Yes, absolutely. It's also because we've shifted our item location. Even though we list on .com, we've changed our item location back to Canada, and that was a response to the potential of tariffs at the border. You know, one of the things that we needed to make clear in our listings is that the item would be crossing the border, and eBay could implement their program where they notify users that if things cross a border and there are extra charges, you as the buyer are responsible for them. Anyways, because we changed our item location to Canada, I can now log into ebay.ca using my same credentials as .com, go to the items that need to be shipped, put in all of the details, and have access to the Canada Post options. And eBay's actually done a really good job in Canada negotiating some rates, which is something they never did in the past because they didn't really have the volume to support it. So that's what we've done. We've used them a number of times. And the other thing that does is it takes it out of the cross-border shipping stream and puts it into Canada Post. Now, some of the cross-border shippers actually allow you to purchase Canada Post tracked packages. The cost is almost the same as you can get through Canada Post. A little bit more expensive than some of the eBay rates, but you buy through eBay, you buy through Canada Post, you can take your package to the post office. They scan it, it's inducted into their system right away. You buy postage through a third party like Chit Chats, or a cross-border shipper like Chit Chats or Stallion. When they take the package, it may take them a day or 2 or 3 or more to deposit the package with Canada Post, where it's then inducted. So that's why we've decided to use the Canada Post option in a few of our cases.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find something here, Rick, if you can.
I'm just looking at some of the comments.
It's a question from Susan, and I'm trying to figure out if I can do it, but it's, of course, it didn't let me sign in when I went to try and sign in, so now I gotta do something else trying to sign in. So
I don't know what you're doing.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Chat, talk amongst yourselves.
So we've actually been having a few fun issues with shipping, and yeah, sorry. Let's see, what do we have in chat? Julie is saying that she's trying to cross-list everything. Oh, sorry. Where do I find the way to?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, how to show her, Rick, but I'm trying to sign into those pages. Doug is sitting between the two rooms.
Doug is sitting beside me.
Oh, is he sitting beside you now?
Yeah.
I'll have to look, Susan, I'll have to look and get back to you on this, because there's a way you can do a couple of things. One of the things, let me just show you, if you are in Canada and you're listing on .com, what you should be doing is you can do all of your items at the same time. See, it's trying to get me to sign in again, and I don't know why it's trying to get me to sign in, because I was already signed in. So if you go to your active listings, you can actually go into the listings, click on all. So this would actually take all of your listings to edit. So what the heck is it doing here for me now? Oh, there it is. It's okay. So let me just edit those. So I'm going to say edit all 648, just so you can see how fast you can do this. So the one thing you do there is you get all your 640 items, whatever number of items you got, click on here, bulk edit. And if you slide down the side, you have to do this on your desktop, slide down the side, and you can actually see things in here that are your pickup, item specifics, there it is, preferences, item location. So if you click on item location, you actually put that in there and apply it to all of your items. In addition to that, you will have to go into your account settings, and you will have to do it there. So there are two places that you need to do it, but that's one way to change all of the things to say that automatically. So now whenever somebody does look at any one of our items, they are going to see, oh, by the way, for some bizarre reason, our internet is slow as frickin' hell. So we can actually see here on the item, it is now located in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, but you're seeing it up here. It's listing this on .com, and we're listing it in US dollars. So that's how all of our items are listed that way. So they will all say this. So now the standard, but we do flat rate shipping. So we don't let Canada Post worry about any of that sort of stuff. And we have a video on here on their Two Dogs Digs, which is all about why we use flat rate. Couple of reasons we do use flat rate shipping if we're selling from Canada or the US is very simply that eBay, Etsy, all of these places charge us fees on the shipping. And if you use calculated shipping, then it's giving them exactly that amount, and you still pay your fee on top of that. So to cover off that 12 to 17% that you have to pay extra for the fees, we figure out an average cost for various weights and sizes. That's the easiest way for us to end up doing it. We've been doing it that way for 25 years. So, and
some of the higher dollar items, we might subsidize shipping a little bit. That's the biggest argument I have with Craig is you're not setting the shipping rate high enough. And I'm subsidizing it to be competitive. Shut the F up.
Yeah, that's our biggest. That's as long as you know what you paid for an item and then what you're going to sell the item for. That's
And
what you have to think about.
again,
So somebody asked actually earlier today, should you, in the craft group, do you do free shipping or do you do paid shipping? Or it's like, it all depends. We've done a bunch of different kinds of tests. And this is kind of almost the time as well when we talk about pivot. It's a time to test things. So what we suggest you do is take items that you have that may or may not have a bigger competition, as an example. And if you have bigger competition on the item, look and see what the other, when you're doing your research, you can see in StreamYard or in ThriFting, is everybody offering free shipping on this or not? So let me try and find this. Again, I didn't have this planned. So the challenge I have is now I've got to go and look away and try and figure out stuff, and I'm going to make Rick talk again. Because I can't do both things at the same time, can I,
I don't
Rick?
know what to talk about. I really don't know. I'm horrible at talking.
I know, but if I'm supposed to find the thing, what I can't do both. I don't have three brains.
Okay. Basically, again, when we are talking about shipping, personally, I hate free shipping. But Craig has convinced me on several of our listings where we have multiples of them, like the Doc Marten shoelaces, where we've got 1,000 of them, and we're selling them in groupings, and we're matching the prices of other people, and we're doing free shipping. And we did a test between, having it at a fixed price plus shipping, or having it at the same price with that price plus shipping as one item with free shipping. And we're actually getting more traction on the free shipping item. So that convinced me. It's like 60-40. So yeah, we can do free shipping on those because we've got a boatload of them, and they're pretty inexpensive.
So here's an example, just using the shoelaces. I went into ThriFting, which is 3 years worth of sales. I just typed in shoelaces. But what right at the very top here, it actually tells me 70%, 6% of the people are doing free shipping. So to be competitive, that's a way for you to look at something. But if you find something that's the opposite way around, if you saw something that said 10% of the people are doing free shipping, if you add it in, it may make a consumer think twice. And we've done multiple tests with multiple items. And I'm going to show you a sale that we just had that is exactly why it worked. It can work beneficially for you. We had an item that we just sold that actually was something that we sell normally with free shipping. And that's because we normally sell one item, right? So this is something that didn't cost us any money whatsoever. And here we go. So this is what we actually had. We had this copper tone keychain. So this little tiny thing. Right? I had tried to sell this tiny thing for $12 plus $5 shipping. I tried to sell it for $10 plus $5 shipping. So $15. I didn't sell them at $10 with $5 shipping. I changed the price to $17.50 with free shipping, and we have sold like 9 or 10 of them in the past 6 months, including this person who actually ended up, that we just sold, they bought 5 of them at $17.50 each. So they ended up paying nearly $100 for 5 of these, and we had free shipping in there. So in essence, we got paid $25 to ship things that only cost us $5.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, yes, your mileage may vary, and no, it isn't really free, but you just have to figure out how you potentially can look at it. And Paul says, I don't do free shipping. Yeah, no, your issue is remembering when someone sends you an offer, and you have to start figuring out what to accept. That is true, but you can look at it. It takes an extra step, but just before you actually accept it, if somebody has sent you an offer, even if you're looking out on your phone, just make sure you actually click on the offer comes in, click on the actual listing itself, and look down. It takes 1 extra second, because believe me, That's where I used to potentially get in trouble with Rick, but now we don't, because I always make sure that he sees that I'm making money on it. But that's also a different thing we're talking about with our pivoting.
Yeah, the other thing is we're pricing things a bit lower to get rid of them, just to move merchandise, get it out, get it out, get it out.
Charmaine's asking, yes, we have, in essence, because of the way eBay works, we can't actually put the same item up, the exact same item up. And I know you could technically change the title slightly and have it as the same item in 2 different ways, but we don't want to be in that world. So the only way that we've tested this is on things such as, go back to the shoelace thing. We tested this brown shoelace with free shipping and the green shoelaces with paid shipping. We've tested, especially with a lot of smaller items that are like $9 and $10 and $12 items that have $6, $7, $8 shipping. That is one of those things where we've tested them various times over the past couple of years, where we put it in at, we'll try it at 10 with 12. We have a Christmas ornament that we had 200 of. And so when we had the 200 of them and we were putting them in at $12 with $6 shipping, no one would buy them. And we put them in at $19.95 with free shipping, so it cost more, and people would buy them. We had another one that the opposite came into play. That's what Rick's talking about. So we've tried all different ways. So we test it on one way, then for a couple of ways that we might leave it like that way for a month, then we'll try it off in a different way for a month. So timing on the year and everything could obviously have a little bit of it, because I'm not doing 2 things at the exact same time. But yes, as I think it's I saw something there. Yes, there we go. Andrew was saying, like, oh, where did it go? Yes, eBay has a duplicate item policy that can be problematic. So that's our only thing. We just try and do that. I mean, you could do the same process pretty well anywhere. You could list things on Facebook Marketplace at 2 different things if you really wanted to see what they are. I guess where you got those. So 200, yeah. Oh yeah, we had 200 of those. Yep. And yes, you are right. They are closed now.
I think we had more than 200. I think we bought like 800 of them.
Not those. We bought way too many of those. Lisa's saying you get burned on free shipping if somebody wants to return something. Yes, that is true.
That's if it's worth having them return.
That's if it's worth having.
We're unique in that we don't force returns.
There's a couple of money. So there's a couple of issues with returns that we look at, and again, this is we just don't eat most of the time. I would say 99 out of 100 cases, we just give them a refund. Why? Because the item didn't cost us any money in the first place. We paid for shipping down there, and we haven't got that many in the past year and a half, Rick. I don't think we've maybe had 6 potential returns.
I think fewer than that, maybe 4.
And none of them is not as described. So they had to potentially even, we've given refunds, we've cut prices with people where they've gone, I don't want this anymore. We sent somebody a really great thing. We sent somebody a Harry Potter Christmas tree topper. It was $250 US, and it cost us $40 to ship it to them. And they got it, and they said, we just don't like it. And when they went to file for the return, I sent them a message and said, you won't get your $40 back. You will have to pay $40 to ship it back to us. Plus, we're going to charge you, because you've opened it now. It was brand new unopened. We're going to charge you a 15% restocking fee, which is $40. So you will end up actually paying $120 to not have the item. But how about this? We'll give you $50 back. So we still made $199 on this.
Yep.
And they were thrilled, and we got amazing feedback from them as well. So we've also had stuff like, if those copper tone things, if the person gets them and says they're smaller than I want to return them, I'm not going to fuss over something that cost us a dime to get back and pay for shipping coming back to me. when I'm going to have to resell it and I'm going to have to recoup the shipping down there and the shipping back. So returns are not big unless you do clothing. Returns are not big. And you should build 5% returns into your mind.
Yeah, it's a cost of doing business. It happens.
Again,
it's
what
not
we
a
always
scam.
say is you lose potential profit, not real profit. That's the other thing that so many people won't let sit in their head. If I had this pony and I sell this pony, I got it for $25, and I sell this pony for $100, and it gets lost, or Rick gets it and Rick says, I don't want this pony anymore. And look what happened. The head came off in shipping. So what am I supposed to do with it? It's like, oh, well, send back my broken pony to me? No, you know what? Here's your $100 back. What did I lose? The $5 it cost me to send it to Rick and the $25. Not $100. It's unrealized profit. Try and think of it that way. That's the easiest way to think about it.
Technically, it's a write-off.
Just in case anybody's worried, I fixed the pony. With any kind of business, yeah, unless you're doing Facebook Marketplace pickups, then maybe that's that's not. Thank you. Yeah, well, I thought it was a good to go. I just didn't want them to be stuck with something. But Lisa says, I don't refund the cost of the item. I refund the cost of the item, but not the shipping. With free shipping, they get the whole amount back. Yeah. And we have actually on Etsy, we have no return policy. So I don't know whether we're going to actually take that away and start offering returns and see if because our Etsy sales are a little slow at the moment. Yep, decapitated pony, vintage pony. Jennifer, I buy a few supplies for shipping, probably at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing, is think about that. 2, how else are we pivoting? Pivot number 2. So pivot number 1 is for us to start looking at ways for us to we're delisting and relisting and delisting and relisting. But pivot number 2 is for us to actually cross list, which is an easy one. You guys all know I'm a cross list whore. Cross list magic. I do it all the time. I'm still trying to do more of it where I can actually promote ourselves and things along those lines, but I haven't done that. I'm still terrible with, I keep saying I'm going to start promoting on Instagram. I see some people that do amazing on Instagram. Lisa Boland actually is good at posting on Instagram. I see a lot of different small shops that are doing it, places in Winnipeg and all these different things. And I see people posting about their shops. And so that's one of the things that I've got to sort of get into my head, is being able to do everything. Yeah, Julie just started using CrossList Magic. She's cross-listing everything that she has in her eBay store to other platforms. So again, that's like number 2. Number 3 is try to figure out a way with your older stock to pivot. And I've said this before, so some of it's not really new, but I've said this before, to get your money back. Now, a perfect example of that is those books. I only paid $4 for those books, but I bought 20 of them. So I paid $100 out of my pocket with tax for those books. So if I paid $100 out of my pocket for those books, I want the $100 back. I'm going to sit there with these books at $50 and $75 and nobody's going to buy them. Or I can sell these books for $25 a piece. And now I've just sold $25 times 15 books is $400. I just made $300. Why? Because I brought my price to something that was reasonable. So we're doing a lot of that. I'm going to show you a couple of things that are like that. This is from our Facebook Marketplace to give you an idea. We just recently did this. We went through a whole bunch of Barbara Streisand stuff, and I found stuff that I thought was worth listing because it was good money. We listed it. We sold really good money. We made an extra from an old lot. I pulled out the good stuff, and we sold probably like $250 worth of stuff in about a week. Mm-hmm. And this was all stuff that I thought wasn't the greatest in the world. But I just wanted to put it all in a big bin. I put it in a bin and put it on Facebook Marketplace for $50. And then after 3 weeks, I took it down to $30. A woman came and picked it up on Saturday. This cost me nothing. So I'd rather have $30 in my pocket than have this sitting around.
That was a lot we got at a garage sale in Buffalo. The woman pulled it out of the house. It was her dead brother's Barbara Streisand collection. We took it all, and I think it was like $40 for everything.
Yeah. But there were sealed singles that we sold for $40 a piece.
That's like a third of what we bought.
Yeah. And I did pick, like, out of that, a group of 10 albums that we sold for $150 US. So $30 in my pocket, more space in the house. Yep. And Charmaine says she's selling more in lots, brass candle holders in lots instead of singles. Yeah, I'll show you another thing that we just did, which was I was downstairs looking for stuff, and I found this big box of Playbill magazines from the 50s and 60s. And I was like, wow, look at all these. Now, I could have gone and said, I'm going to put these into individual listings on Facebook. And because I actually had seen, like, I think it was this issue of Gypsy just sold for $10.95. And this issue of Raisin in the Sun just sold for $10.95. And this issue of Tenderloin didn't sell. So it's like I made it's a whole. There's another How to Succeed in Business Without Retrying. So this is a really cool thing. I don't even remember where I got it, but it was a whole batch of playbills from somebody at a house at an estate sale. So I decided of everything, what I'm going to do is post them all as one lot. How do I do that? Well, I happen to find a playbill trading and selling group on Facebook. And so I got to go onto Facebook with this, took 4 pictures. I originally listed it at $75. I don't know if you can see that. I have to make it bigger. So here we are. I playbill trading, and I listed it for $75, including shipping. And I got an offer. I listed this March the 9th. Today's the 18th, so it's 9 days later. But you know what? Somebody offered me today $50. This was nothing. This cost me nothing.
I've never seen somebody pay so quickly.
Yeah. So, and again, that's just it. You have to. It's a really, really good point. Is you have to consider the amount of time it is if you're going to list these individually, the amount of time to sell them. So that's the other thing we're doing. We're grouping things together. We've done that with the playbills. We've done that with the playbills now, salt and pepper shakers, Starbucks mugs, and some of these have been Facebook Marketplace, local pickups, and some of them have been Facebook
and
groups.
Shipping.
So we're trying to find more and more Facebook groups to sell things in, and still trying to make it that extra little oomph. What can we do that somebody's going to go? Because I even put in if you see my words, I looked this up. It's like, look what's here. And some of these have sold for $10 each. You're getting all 38 for one price. So somebody went, I can pay $1 a piece, even for fun, to look through these if you like the history. I thought that was better, and I got rid of a stack. So that's another pivot that we're doing. So now we're talking about adjusting prices, like ending and relisting with a new price.
Exactly. Finding the right buyers.
Yeah. And sometimes you can't wait for eBay or Etsy or Posh or Mercari. And I'm being surprised at how many groups there are that sell things on Facebook that are different things. And some of the groups I've joined only have like 57 members, but that's all I really need for 57 members if I happen to be looking for a group that's really bizarre or something like that. And then there's some groups, let's see if I can find this one, that I just recently joined.
Yeah, Charlene is saying that she's selling her late husband's vinyl LPs.
Yep.
Over 2,000, and she's already sold 55. That's pretty good.
That is really good, yeah.
And it's nice that they're going to people who are going to care about them.
Yes. So and this is sort of for Elisa, but take a look at this. I had a creepy doll. Look at this. There is groups, haunted dolls and other items. 17,000 members. Fantasy dolls. Creepy dolls to buy and sell has 24,000 members in it. Like, you'd be surprised. So don't go away or take yourself away from something when it may actually be, look, there's Living Dead. Look at all the different, there's 825 people in the Jamie Summers Bionic Action Woman thing. Now, I bet you I could go on that and I might be able to sell something like that. So that's the other thing to keep in mind is take a look at Facebook, but don't look at Facebook Marketplace. Look into groups. So I'll show you how I'm doing that. I'm going over to in Facebook. You can do this. I'm showing you on here because it's easier for me to do this on my desktop, but you can do it on your phones. You go onto the top of where Facebook is. You click on groups. Then you search for something in groups. So let's just say I happen to be right now, I'm really looking for Hello Kitty fans. I have some Hello Kitty stuff. Well, actually, no. What did I just say? Sheet music. Sheet music. There we go. So sheet music. Then underneath, don't let it hit groups. And there you go. Sheet music collectors, 2,000 members. Sheet music share. You can find some things in the Happy Sheet Music Hub. So you never know. You have to take a little extra look at them. Like I don't know whether this sheet music is a buy and sell group. That's the one thing you need to do is see if they're buy and sell.
Check the rules and make sure that you're permitted.
Yeah, and then take a quick scan of the group as well. Because I have found a number of times that those groups are going to be just to show. So that first Creepy Dolls group was 17,000 people who just like to talk about creepy dolls.
You're going to get some really weird ads.
I know. I'm already getting weird ads. It's really bizarre. It's just like, but yes. Oh, yeah. And then Rick's comment that his old story about the Oivotoika glass owl.
And I said in the group, I found this at an estate sale for $3. La, 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 la. And the woman who bought it was thrilled that I was going to sell it to her.
So that's another pivot for us is we're doing a lot more now in very specific Facebook groups. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. We're trying to get rid of some of, we had some duplicates of Roosevelt shirts that we had, and I posted them at Basic Retail, and I thought they would fly, and they are not flying. And so what I do is I go into those groups, and after about a week, I'll delete my ad. Then a week or so later, I'll go back and I'll repost the ad again. And the reason for that is when you have 6, 7, 8, 10,000 people in a group, you never know who's watching at any one time. So don't just place your ad there and hope it gets seen. Your way to get it seen is a couple of things. Watch, you may be able to take your listings and bump them. So just put the comment bump, and that will bring your listing up to the top. You may be able to end your listing and just relist it again another day. There's lots of different ways depending upon the group. I do not know if I have to.
I don't want you to search for prison underpants groups. Thank you very much.
Well, now
you're having to.
No, I'm doing that. I'm just seeing what happens if I do end up putting in vintage prison underwear, and I do that as a search. Well, vintage kitsch collectors and enthusiasts. Buy, sell, trade.
What are they enthusiastic about? I wonder.
But look at that, 65,000 members of a buy, sell, and trade group. Let's say if I get rid of vintage, and what happens if I just look, I don't know why I'm doing this, but what happens if I just look at prison stuff? There's prison stuff. And in groups, well, look, now I'm finding prison pen pals. So now I'm going to be
You're going to send underwear to large men in prison?
Out of there. Now I'm going to have prison pen pals.
Honey, we need to talk if you're going to be sending large underwear to men in prison.
I could send large underwear to men in prison because I do have that, right? Size X, 6X. But yeah, so look those things up. That's another pivot. I want to show you, let's see, what else was I thinking of showing you? One of the other things that we're doing is we're pivoting in a way that we haven't looked at for years, but we're looking at again, and that is much to sort of our okay, I have to kind of preface this. So the way that we're looking at things right now with reselling as a Canadian is we may end up hitting some problems with shipping to the States. So the only way that I can actually sort of make this work in my brain, this big bald brain, is to think, if I can't ship to the States, what do I do? And I literally time warp back. I pivot. I time warp back to before the internet. Because we were selling in the 90s before the internet. And we were selling at toy shows, at flea markets, at garage sales, at antique mall, you name it. And in fact, we did some of that even up to into the 2000s, 2010s. So in-person selling, I think, is going to be a big thing that will come up. And especially with this summer, what will happen, I think, is a lot of Canadians are saying buy Canadian. So they may start looking for more options for what we can buy. So one of the things that we decided is to do this. How are we going to take advantage of this? Especially, and this is why I want you guys to think about this now, not 3 weeks from now, not a month and a half from now, is because the summer is amazing potential for you to have sales in person. Now, some of you do this as well on your own. Some of you may already have a booth you take here or there for a show. But what we're talking about is we have now stepped out of our comfort zone, and we are taking a booth, an antique booth that's a little bit north of Toronto, at a place called Roadshow Antiques. This is what we're taking. So just so you can see here. Now, I don't know. Oh, I have to do there we go. This is it. So this is the space that somebody else currently has. This is just walking up into the space to show you. Somebody is currently in there with a 10 foot by 20 foot booth. This is what we're taking over. We're taking over this part of the booth that is 10 feet. So it's right to about where that white thing is to the other side. So 10 feet by 10 feet.
And it's an 8 foot tall wall.
And an 8 foot tall wall. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with this, but we'll show you some of the other images of this booth for us, just so you can see them in stills. So this is the actual booth area itself. As you can see, the person in there, this is the grumpy man that he is. He's taking and he's going to rip up the floor, rip up the walls. We said, why doesn't he leave them? And we said, how much would it cost for him just to leave everything nice? Like leave the nice floor, leave the nice walls and everything like that. And the guy said, well, for retail, I bought them last year and it cost me like $300. So I want $350. And I just said, oh, yeah, hell with that. He can rip
the panels on the wall at the left behind the cabinet and the fireplace mantle, there's 2.5 panels on that side and 2.5 panels on the opposite side. They're hard. They're hardboard with the printed brick on it. They were $40 a panel, so 40 times 5 is $200. There's $150 for the flooring, which is peel and stick vinyl flooring. So he wanted
that's wallpaper
$300.
Yeah, so we
he just put it in a year ago, so I think he's thinking, oh, how do I get the value back? The other thing we noticed in his booth that like the fireplace mantle had an original price tag of what, $1,500 or $1,800?
$1,500 on this fireplace mantle.
It's now down to $300.
Yeah. So this whole space is what we're going to be taking. This whole space is what we're going to be taking. So we're doing something we haven't done in quite a long time. And again, like Carl was saying, looking forward to hearing how that goes. It's like, yeah, this is Carl, you're sort of an inspiration on this with what you were doing with your going to your flea market on Sundays kind of thing. So it's one of the things that made us start thinking we need to try and do it. And that's the point we made to the two managers. He wants to do all the work. Yeah, he wants to do all the work. He wants to be the person taking it all apart. He's 75 years old.
And he's gone at the end of the month.
So he has to have it all removed in the next 2 weeks. So but yeah, it's interesting for us. Now, again, we're completely, so that everybody here's what we're talking about. This is so completely transparent. This is going to cost us $400 Canadian a month to rent. So that's $300 US a month to rent. And there is a 16% fee. So they charge 16%. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, Nellie just, wow. Depending upon where you are, you may be able to find things that are a lot cheaper. But in our greater Southern Ontario area, that's the challenge that we have, is literally if we are looking for antique malls in Toronto, I'm just going to pop this one up so you can see.
There are very few options.
There are very
available.
few. They're owned ones, and then we actually live right around here. This is where you actually have to go for antique malls. Hold on, there we go. Antique malls. Take a look at this. See, that blue dot? That's us. So you can see from that blue dot alone that for us, we have to go all the way over here to the Main Street one, all the way up to here to the Cookstown one. And that's actually where we are. We're going to be just a little bit south of that. Antiques on 48, out here, out in Kitchener. So there's lots of places if we wanted to go, but we're here. So we are just going to be going straight up this. This is the road show. That's where we're actually going to go. It happens to be straight up the highway for us. So about 45 minutes or so. Is credit card use on the top? Yes, I believe it's an extra 2%, I think, on top of that too. So, but here's the thing that I don't think, well, there's a good one, Bell River, $200 a month. That's not bad. So that's just it. Even if it's not really close, it might be worth your while if you can do something like this and grab a space that is active on a regular basis. So here's the thing that we also wanted to think about. We used to have a 10 by 10 storage unit. Our storage unit that was 10 by 10 cost us $330 a month. And nobody could shop at that. So why not pay and think about a mall as your storage unit?
A storage unit that people are going to see things that have prices on them and possibly take away.
Yeah. So it's...
That was part of the discussion that I convinced Craig it might be a good idea to consider. And it's a complete 180 from when I was working full time and we had our booth in 2011, 2012. It was always going to restock on the weekends or a day off. And it was kind of annoying because I wanted to just sit in the lazy boy and relax.
Yeah.
Now that we're both retired, I think Sherry had a question about whether we're working or plus we work. No, we basically have both retired and we're doing this to occupy time.
And make money.
And make money, of course.
So just so just to give you a couple of ideas, though, something that to give you an idea, depending upon where you actually are, this is a place that we actually look at, and I wish we had. This is a place called Ontario Mall Antiques, and it's actually just south of Rochester. And they actually, see if I can get a better shot of what they have inside. So huge mall, right? Gigantic mall, really gigantic mall. But what they've got is if you rent a glass showcase from them, they only charge $80 a month and no fee.
Yeah.
So you could have a glass showcase for $80. There's another mall that's also in south of Buffalo in Canandaigua, Salamanca. They charge the same, about $100. They charge about $200 for a booth and don't charge a fee.
Yeah, there was a point in time when we rented storage down there, and we were considering actually renting a couple of booth spaces, or not booths, showcases in those malls, and just pricing things before we came back to Canada. But it was too difficult. The logistics were weird. So we decided against that.
Heather said they had a booth in the mall when they lived in an apartment. It was good storage. So yeah, it's just, again, it's a different way to think about something like that. We're not worried. So two things that we're doing, we're buying stuff to put in there literally for virtually no money. So I'm looking actually on Max Sold at stuff, and to give you an example, we're looking on there and we almost bought these two bookcases for $1 a piece. I've got other things that I'm looking at that are coming up that are close. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace. Like, look at this cabinet here, which would be perfect to display something in, $1. So you can find things that you can lock with the things that are more important to you. And the other stuff, it's the same as broken. It's theft. It's like,
we experienced
that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
lock it away.
I recall from the last time we were at the booth, there might have been 2 or 3 things that we noticed walked away, but we had so little money invested in them. It's like, oh, well, I mean, we could have tried to do a full inventory of everything and figure out, okay, these 3 things are missing and they cost us $20, so we can write off $20. We
But I'm
couldn't
not worried
write off
about
the
it because
retail value. So
right now, again, our big challenge is what do we do with this stuff? We may not be able to use Whatnot to ship into the States. We may not have a de minimis anymore as well. Like Sherry, you're lucky you can do a Whatnot from your storage trailer, but we don't have that. We may not have that ability. So one of the ways we're pivoting is we're trying to look at, if we can, trying to do stuff as much as we can. And we're trying to pull stuff right now and see if we can get rid of some of the stuff before the April 1st potential deadline. That is expensive things or bigger things or things along those lines. But the rest of the stuff, we have so much stuff everywhere. Rick is actually enthused about this. Why? Because he doesn't have to ship a cookie jar again.
A space.
Like,
yeah, and not having
all
to
this
ship
stuff
them.
that we have that's bigger. We have 700 items listed on eBay right now, over 100 listed, 120 listed on Etsy right now. And some of them haven't sold for a long time. So it's like, you know what? Let's get them in front of people. Let's take the next 6 months and get them in front of people. And again, we're looking at this as a cost of a storage locker. So that cost is a write-off as well as a business for you. This is a write-off.
Yep.
So remember, wherever you go, look at those things. We also did look at a number of different ways of trying to do things. We looked at things that were, we looked at things like single days when there happened to be something. Here's a perfect example where it was like a community sales or a toy show. We're going to an antique mall that sale that's coming up in about 2 weeks, and it's a mall that every long weekend holiday in Canada, the mall is closed, but they open it up for antique booths. So you can rent a booth for a day for like $50, like a table. So we're going to go look at that and see that as an option for us. We're doing the same thing with sourcing too, because I'm not finding much in the thrift stores right now. It's really hard for me to try and figure out, in some cases, how to do a show without a thrifter to throw it. The next couple of shows I'm going to have to do are going to be more digging through my profit piles because I can't find anything that's worth it anywhere. So with that, we're starting to look at things like just trying to type it here. We found one in Ottawa. So we're going to go visit Carl at some point because we heard about this thing called the Great Glebe Garage Sale, which is up in that way. So it's this giant garage sale they have every year since 1986. We're just waiting for them to do their announcement, but it's beginning of May or end of May. So we're going to drive up to that. And as you know, and we're also looking around things like what else is there in Ontario? Well, you know what? In Ontario, I got to click out of these things because they're coming through. There's an Ontario thrifting guide for us to look at. So again, keep thinking about those different types of ways for you to, like there, Carl just said the GGG is nuts. Yeah, so we're hoping like that.
Yeah, there are a few questions floating around in the chat.
Yep.
Susan is saying that she started with one booth 2 years ago, now has 3 in a row. Great for big items and tons of collectibles, which is great. Andrew is finding other people's stuff in his booth more often, and his stuff gets dropped out by people in other booths. And he's had a few booths for 16 years.
Well, that's great. Yeah, well, you got to think about that. I'm probably guilty of that. It's like, oh, look, I picked this up and I walk halfway around the antique mall and then go, I don't want this. I don't remember what booth it came from, so I put it back. Luckily, the sticker's usually on it, so if somebody does buy it, they know where it goes. Nope, we're not going to Brimfield. We're not going to the U.S. We just canceled our Brimfield trips. We canceled our Buffalo trips. So right now, we don't have any plans to go to the U.S. at all because we're not sure whether we're welcome as bluntly as we possibly can.
Yeah, I don't want anybody checking my social
Point
media.
is not your favorite, very snooty. We've never been to it. That's why we thought we would take a look about it and see what it's like. The Glebe is where little Carl grew up. So yeah, that's one of the things we want you to take a look at is think about something that you may not have done. So Go into Facebook. This is the easiest way to do it, is to do one of two things. You either go into Google, and if you Google something as simple as community sales near me, like think about it as the most generic thing you possibly can, and then you might be able to find something like that somebody talks about in here: garage sales, community garage sales in yard sales in Toronto. You might find a church that's renting a table, and those places usually rent tables for like $10. You can also look up antique malls, and you can add in, if you want to, antique malls near me. And again, take a look at them, take a drive to them. Again, we looked at these and figured this is our big. There's the ones that we were talking about. There's Lewiston. There's over here is Schmidt's Barn. So there's a lot down there, and there's some people who do really well at Prudham's, and in the Ontario area, there's a couple in Hamilton. The Hamilton Antique Mall is a huge mall. So, and there's lots of people that are doing this, and we just thought we'd rather get in now and be there for the summer.
Yeah.
Because that's when traveling is going to take place. We know why, because we're going to be traveling to the Glebe and probably other places. Brian and Charmaine just posted in the craft group, hey, anybody know of any good places to go to for them? They're looking at doing their traveling to like some 3-day road trips around Southern Ontario. I know that, again, there's people in Winnipeg. There's a couple of really good Winnipeg markets that happen like once a month. And the same happens in Calgary and Edmonton, and some in the Vancouver area. So keep thinking about those types of things as to places like Prudhomme. Yeah, Prudhomme's is a great place to shop. It's on your way to Niagara Falls, so you can still have a fun time there. Elisa can do, a Mid-Atlantic craft meetup. Oh yeah, sure. If we could post that into the craft group, it'd be great for people to get together and commiserate and hug each other with my sales. But still, it's something that's different, and that's what we want you to do. We want you to think about how you can take what you're doing and pivot. Wait, I have to. Still one of my favorites. I love that. But yeah, hopefully you'll find a way for you to pivot and rethink your reselling before you get hit with something that takes you into a completely different area. You don't want to be stuck going, I can't sell on Posh US anymore, and I can't ship to the US on Etsy, and I can't ship on eBay, and what am I going to do? And then start thinking about like everybody else. That's the thing we hope with Craft, is we're giving you a little thing to say, think about it now.
Okay. The other thing to remember is that it's not going to be impossible to ship across the border. It's just the environment is going to change significantly. Potentially. And there may be fewer opportunities to make those sales. That said, there will still be some opportunities to be had. There are things that you have that are unique, that somebody will be willing to pay whatever the cost is, the shipping, plus whatever tariffs or duties might be applied to it.
Yes.
Will that happen immediately? No. But at some point, things will become normalized, hopefully, as they always do, and people figure out how to work with the changes in the system. 30 years or 25 years on eBay, we've gone through a lot of changes. 40 years or 35 years of selling, we've gone through a lot of changes. So this is just yet another change, and I think that we'll all make it through.
Yeah. But to make it through, you can't fake it through. You gotta look at adapting, rolling with the punches, and trying new stuff. So keep those things in mind. Look at your pricing. Get rid of stuff that you've got investments in that you're sitting on and you've been sitting on for a year or 2 or 3, and you're trying to get $200 for it, but you paid 50 cents for it. Throw it up for $50. Let somebody else take it off of you. You bought it for $20. Still throw it up for $50 and get that money back. If you got something that you end your listings and relist them if you don't have anything new because you can't find anything in the thrift store. Dig into your profit piles, which we're going to be doing with next couple of shows that we're doing in 2 weeks and so, to say, what else can we find? What else can we get rid of? Look at local auction houses. And then our big pivot, which we're suggesting to you, is look at live sales again. Remember, before the interweb, when people used to talk to each other in face-to-face. and think about that for antique malls,
Sonny,
craft
Sonny,
shows.
I can't hear you, Sonny. What are you saying?
Like flea markets or anything like that, and let us know if you're in your area. We actually thought at one point we might even design a craft show. So for craft members to actually have a show on one day. So if we have interest in that, we might look into doing something like that in the summer as well. So thanks so much for watching us. Again, hopefully your sales will start rising a little bit more and you'll be able to pivot a bit more. For us, the next 2 weeks are going to be pricing, so that we can fill our booth. So we'll show you, I think our next show is actually on the Tuesday, April 1st. We might actually be coming back from our booth. So we'll show you how we set it all up. Thanks, everyone. Have a fabulous day. Have a fabulous week.
If we make it.
Huh?
If we make it.
If we make it. Lots of going out for business. Yeah, watch for that too. Hey.
All right, kids. Thanks for joining us. It was fun. Bye.
See you, craft.